The MAGA Civil War has reached its peak, and honestly, I don't know how I'm going to get through this video without smiling the entire time, because Donald Trump's coalition has never been more fractured, and he has never been more panicked, which is why we have never seen a threat like Donald Trump just issued, threatening to essentially end a top Republican who is blowing up his chance of trying to rig the midterms. We are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into who Donald Trump is going after and why this threat shows his panic, I want to start with where it all began, and that is in Indiana, with Republicans pushing back on Donald Trump, and Pete Buttigieg broke it all down right here.
To gerrymander. Why do you think they got there? And I know that you think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think there's two reasons. One, the legislators who were being pressured by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to do this knew on some level that it was wrong. And the other reason is that a lot of us participated in putting some pressure on those legislators by reminding them that the people of the state did not want this. They openly talked about creating a 9-0 map, meaning that 9 out of 9 congressional races in the state of Indiana would be decided before anybody went to the polls. And so we saw something that you would be told is impossible, which is Republican elected officials saying no to Donald Trump. And he was calling them to twist their arms. J.D. Vance went personally to Indiana to lobby for this, and they said no, which means that kind of pressure can work. And I think that's a really important lesson, because it punctures that fake wall of inevitability that the Trump White House tries to create around everything that they do.
You're saying that, but yet you've endorsed California's version of gerrymandering, which would knock out a bunch of Republican seats. Isn't that kind of hypocritical?
It's not the same thing for a couple of reasons. First of all, the Indiana proposal cut out the voters completely. Legislators were just going to create this new map. The California proposal is literally going to the voters. That's what we're endorsing in the proposition. It's a proposition everybody gets to vote on. But let's back up from this. Of course, we would be better off if there was no gerrymandering. I believe in fair districts across the country. And this proposition, which is an emergency measure, would hand it back to the bipartisan commission when the next turn of the decade happens and the next redistricting happens. But the point is, if some other state is going to try to do this, then a state like California shouldn't sit on its hands and just unilaterally let that happen.
Let's talk.
There is still time left for Republicans to not surprise me and capitulate to Donald Trump, but something that they have figured out, not in the second term, not in the second presidency, but maybe in like the last 2 or 3 months, really since Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie and Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert kind of formed their own collective action caucus and kind of realized that Donald Trump can't go after all of them at once. Like, sure, he went after Marjorie Taylor Greene and Massie, but Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace largely unscathed. The Republicans realized when they get together, they can push back against Donald Trump, and they're also understanding how weak he is at this point, which is why Democrats need to be pouncing, like J.B. Pritzker said here. So this is what we are seeing right now. Indiana Republicans are incredibly unlikely at this point to move forward with Donald Trump's gerrymander. If they do, though, we have Democrats who are all ready to move forward with redistricting in Virginia, doing so in Illinois possibly, doing so in Maryland possibly. The Virginia is going to happen, and it's going to be about a 4-seat swing. It's a lot of seats, right? This is big. It's going to be a 10-1 map. So Donald Trump is obviously freaking out that Indiana Republicans aren't helping him, which is why this threat, one of the craziest things that Donald Trump has ever said, is now going public. Brian Tyler Cohen reports Republicans have announced the entire state of Indiana will be defunded if they do not obey Donald Trump by gerrymandering their state. Roads will not be paved, guard bases will close, major projects will stop. Donald Trump is now threatening to defund the deep red state of Illinois. This is not him deciding that he wants to go after Zohran Mamdani. It's not him attacking Gavin Newsom and undermining the recovery after a wildfire. This is Donald Trump saying he is not going to send federal dollars to Indiana. Indiana, if they do not gerrymander the state for him. That is a level of insanity that I know we shouldn't be surprised by anything that Donald Trump does. But how panicked he is over these midterms should be the most energizing thing for you right now. Whenever you are down and out about what is happening in this administration, just remember and realize that Donald Trump is so scared of the coming midterms that he is threatening to, I'm going to say it again, defund the state of Indiana if 4 Republican senators do not get on board with gerrymandering the state for him. He knows that it is going to be a wipeout. He knows that he needs every seat he can possibly hold on to, but he knows that he is going to lose. And what's funny about this is that Donald Trump has to understand that this midterm loss will mean the end of his presidency. He will be a lame duck. He will be able to get nothing done. Democrats will be investigating him constantly. Donald Trump will have to face down his criminality, face down his cover-ups, face down the Epstein scandal in its full force. It will be the end of his presidency, but by pushing for Republicans to gerrymander and failing to get them to, Donald Trump is prematurely ending his presidency by proving out how weak he is, by proving out how little respect these Republicans have for him, by proving out he's not the guy he used to be. He doesn't have the control over MAGA. He just doesn't. And while Donald Trump is waging war with the Republican Party, he's also waging war, it seems, with Venezuela in an attempt to unite his coalition, but it's just not working.
Today, the United States government seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, accusing it of transporting sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran and escalating what is already a group of mounting tensions in the region. Now, to be honest, we don't exactly know what is going on here or what the end goal is at this point. But earlier tonight, Attorney General Pam Bondi claimed that the tanker was previously sanctioned by the U.S. for its involvement in an illicit oil shipping network supporting foreign terrorist organizations. Though I should note, Bondi has not yet provided any evidence to back up those claims. And listen to what Trump himself said when a reporter asked him what happens to the oil now that the U.S. has seized this tanker.
What happens to the oil on this ship?
Well, we keep it, I guess.
We keep it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, so what happens now? I mean, we were trying to figure that out. We're learning more. But thankfully, I have just the person to ask who's probably been thinking about this, too. Back with me is my friend and colleague, Rachel Maddow. So I don't expect you to know exactly the answer to that. But you, as I noted before the break, I mean, you wrote a book a few years ago called Blowout, which, of course, covers how the oil and gas industry effectively corroded and corrupted democracy. It feels quite relevant to all of this. Given what we saw today, I mean, what went through your head when you saw this news about all the reasons for it, when you saw Trump's answer as to whether he would keep the oil? What was going on in Rachel Maddow's head?
Oh, Jen, I just feel like, I feel like if you stop somebody on the street, just like man on the street interview, like, why are we going to war with Venezuela? Mm-hmm. Anybody, like, if you asked 100 people, would a single one of those people have an answer that would be the same answer as anybody else, that would match anything that the administration was saying? They'd all be different. And so first it was, we're blowing up those drug boats off of Venezuela because of fentanyl. Well, fentanyl doesn't come from Venezuela. Nope. Oh, okay, no, we're not doing that anymore. No, we're just trying to stop drug trafficking. These are all, that's why we're doing this. Is all about drug trafficking. It's drug trafficking boats. It's Maduro is involved in drug trafficking somehow. So that's okay. And then simultaneously, Trump pardons the president of Honduras, former president of Honduras, who is one of the most prolific drug traffickers ever convicted in this country. Now they're saying, oh, it's violating Iran sanctions. Oh, okay, violating Iran sanctions. That's why we're going to war with Venezuela. While Trump just pardoned the Binance guy. What did the Binance guy need to be pardoned for? $898 million worth of Iran sanctions violations, right? Plus funding Al-Qaeda and ISIS and Hamas and the and Islamic Jihad. So like all of the things that they keep saying it is, clearly they're not. And so what is it? Apparently it's a regime change war so we can try to take their oil. Well, that'll work out great. That's always worked out great for us in the past. I mean, what's going on here? And who's driving this? Trump doesn't seem to have any idea what's going on here or why.
No, which is an evergreen statement about Trump and national security in general, it seems. I keep thinking, and again, it's important, we don't totally know what's going on here, but about his obsession over the course of time with taking oil from other countries, which he has talked about for so many years. And I am betting his oil baron friends are in his mind. But we will learn more over the coming days. I mean, this is all kind of to your point. I mean, these extrajudicial strikes, the seizure of this oil tanker, it's so many things going on that feels over the legal line and feels like it's setting incredibly dangerous precedents. As you look at the totality of it, I mean, what concerns you most about what you're seeing and really where this goes? Because this is a very slippery slope. I think they feel justified to seize more oil tankers. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's basically three things going on here. I think one is that Trump wants to demonstrate that he is unconstrained by law, politics, or public opinion. Like he wants to, the reason there's no king's protests against Trump is not just because he calls himself a king and, looks the part, but because he is trying to create an illegal or sort of non-legal regime around himself in which he is unconstrained by any of the things that legally constrain an American president. So that's dangerous. That's part of what this is. The other thing that's really bad about this is it looks like we might get a war. And it really looks like a regime change war to try to take their oil, which really is something we know a lot about in this country and is supposedly part of the reason that Trump arose in Republican politics, because he was against those sorts of things. Like that's supposedly the whole theory of the case for why J.D. Vance exists, right, as a political figure. But the last thing I think is the weirdest thing to worry about, which is that Trump really doesn't seem to have any idea why he's going to war in Venezuela, nor does he seem to be in charge of any of the decisions that are leading us to this war.
Shame on everyone in the media who allowed Donald Trump to get away with the nonsensical narrative that he was somehow going to be a peace president, that just because he begged and whined and moaned about how nobody likes him and he should get a peace prize and I stopped 8 wars, which is maybe one of the bigger lies of this administration. Shame on anyone in the media who constantly did not work to tamp down this narrative, because it was bullshit the whole time. It was always a lie. We always knew that. And now we are dealing with the results. This is Donald Trump attempting to hold his coalition together, and I guess trying to give himself a reason to take more control over our military. And it needs to be called out. We are certainly going to on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.